How's it going, everyone? We've got some big Expedition 33 updates to go over as the team over at Sandfall is working on a bunch of new stuff, including new content. We don't have insight as far as exactly what the new content will be, but we'll talk about that. On top of that, we have some notes on the future of one of PlayStation's more emerging IPs. It's here to stay. That is Astrobot, and Postal 2 Redux has been announced for PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4. We'll talk that briefly at the end of this video as a Kickstarter campaign will be launching later this summer. But right off the bat, Expedition 33, one of the best, if not the best games of the year. The official Twitter account noted, "Bonjour, we are currently exploring a wide range of future improvements from accessibility features to new content and all sorts of bits and bobs we're actively assessing. Naturally, this also includes expanded localization options as well. While we don't have specific timelines or confirmed languages to share just yet, we wanted to know that it's very much on our radar. So a lot of exciting stuff on Expedition 33, and I think, man, if any of these studios have learned from a shift up in how they established Stellar Blade as an IP, and, you know, game signs with Black Myth Wukong, less so than Stellar Blade, I feel. I mean, Black Myth Wukong did incredibly well. It did better than Stellar Blade, but Stellar Blade, I thought, has done a really good job of keeping itself in the news cycle over the course of a year plus. I think Expedition 33 should definitely go that route in terms of rolling out content updates. Like, we recently had a patch that tweaked the accessibility options as far as the story mode difficulty, and I think that is great for people that want to play the game at an easier difficulty. But doing stuff like that, refinements, I'm not saying every couple of months they have to drop a big content update or anything like that, but doing updates, doing little things here and there, and then 6 months from now, 8 months from now, doing a big DLC announcement, and then you can do a Game of the Year edition release. You can port it to Nintendo Switch too, and that's how you keep yourself in the news cycle for a year. As far as what it could be from a DLC standpoint, there's a lot of options. It doesn't have to be narrative-based content. I think a lot of people are already happy with the story that's in Expedition 33, and I don't know if you want to expand that right now. However, adding new dungeons, new boss battles, adding more difficult boss battles, I think people would be all over that, especially if you want to expand some of the Act 3 offerings. I think that would be really great. Or if you want to expand some of the Act 1 offerings, because, you know, the narrative gets a little crazy within Act 2, but having let me not get into spoilers, but you guys know what I'm trying to get at here. Y'all know what I'm trying to say if you played the game. There's a lot of options as far as what you could do with DLC, and I think that could be pretty exciting in letting you take the characters on different adventures outside of the core narrative that is Expedition 33. You know, the battle against the Paintress, you could do other things that are separate dungeons that probably wouldn't be as taxing as far as doing big cutscenes or anything like that. You could just create a dungeon, focus on that, and I think that could be worthwhile, especially when you look at how Expedition 33's map is laid out. It just feels like this game has DLC in mind, and we had heard that DLC was something thought about even before the release of the game. But now with the success of the game and the continued success of the game and the potential of, again, porting it to the Switch too, fingers crossed on all the content on the cart and not a game key card, but I digress. Definitely exciting stuff ahead, and hopefully we'll hear more throughout the rest of the year. In my opinion, the best place to announce Expedition 33 content would be at the Video Game Awards show, because I would imagine at the very least this game is going to get nominated for Game of the Year. It's hard to say it'll win Game of the Year with Death Stranding 2 coming out, Ghosts of Yotei, all of the Nintendo games, Metroid Prime, and so on and so forth, so you really can't push the cart before the horse as far as just, you know, labeling it Game of the Year, but it'll certainly be a nominee, and I think announcing it at the Game Awards where it is a nominee for the Game of the Year, that's how you just build momentum. That's how I would do it. I'm sure Sandfall is doing what they can, and it all comes down to, you know, how far along the content is and if they're ready to reveal it. But exciting stuff ahead for Expedition 33. I should also note the Lumiere Edition is still available to pre-order. It is a GameStop exclusive. I know after October 31st, people are going to wait until October 31st. It'll be out of stock everywhere. where it'll be relisted on eBay for egregious prices, and people are gonna be, you know, scrounging to get the Lumiere Edition. I really would not be picking up the physical copy. Maybe the idea of the original physical copy will have value, but the Lumiere Edition, having a copy on disc with a steelbook, I feel like as far as longevity goes, and 5 to 10 years from now, this is the edition that's gonna have a lot of value, especially given that it's a GameStop exclusive. So I will leave a link to that in the description box if you guys are interested. All right, moving on from the Expedition 33 talk. You know, PlayStation been at a wild state over the last couple of years with so much emphasis on their live service games, and it has really cooked first party in a lot of areas. However, one team that has not been cooked is Astrobot Studio and their success with Astrobot. Astrobot was really the standout in 2024 and carried PlayStation, a year where they had noted to everyone, hey, we don't have a big first-party game coming from one of our existing IPs this year, but while Astrobot doesn't fit the criteria of a big IP at the level and a big game release at the level of a Spider-Man to a Ghost of Yotei, it certainly ended up being one of the best games of the year and one game of the year last year. So Sony made out really well with the success of Astrobot, and this is an IP that is going to stick around, with Herman Hulst noting that Astrobot is one of the most exciting recent successes. Astrobot was a smash hit, achieving universal acclaim among players and critics and sweeping industry award show. Astrobot was listed as an emerging IP, and that probably means that we're going to get a lot more Astrobot coming into the future. I've already been vocal, but let me go on my tangent again of my idea for an Astrobot. You know, I'm a little bit upset that Astro is probably going to take the mantle of the, you know, young audience-friendly game that I think for a long time PlayStation intended Sackboy and Little Big Planet to have that. Well, I feel like Sackboy is being done a little bit dirty, so I think it would be great to have an Astrobot game where Astro, as the main protagonist, has to take on like a gone rogue Sackboy. I think that would be money. Can you imagine how easy that game would be to promote? And then at the end of the game, oh, Astro and Sackboy are friends again, yada yada. Yeah, you could do that. That's fine. These games are supposed to be feel-good, fun games. They're not supposed to be crazy, you know, narratively moving games. But I think the idea of an Astro versus Sackboy game would be money, and I hope at some point they do it, because it's one of the original ideas I felt like I've come up with, and I don't know anybody else saying that idea, but I feel like I've come up with this idea, and I'm just gonna keep saying it until something to that effect happens, because I feel like that's just such a great idea, and it would do me a solid, and a lot of people like me that grew up in the era of Little Big Planet and Little Big Planet 2, and it's unfortunate that Sackboy is kind of getting pushed to the wayside for Astro. I get it, I understand it, but you know, I remember the success of Little Big Planet 1 and 2, and those games were tremendous. Who knows what Media Molecule is working on? You know, maybe they're doing Little Big Planet 4, I highly doubt it, but you know, who knows? Crazier things have happened, but yeah, Astrobot at the very least will get more game releases and more content. We already see all of the new levels they're putting out. This is going to be an IP that's here to stay for a while. Lastly, I do want to note that Postal 2 Redux has been revealed, and a Kickstarter campaign will be launching this summer. Postal 2 Redux is a ground-up overhaul of 2003's infamous open-world shooter. Part modernization, part love letter, Postal 2 Redux will hoist every original asset out of the creaking Unreal 1.5 engine and slam it into today's Unity, delivering the same familiar week in the Postal dude's life with a merciless glow-up and a bucket of new toys. Postal 2 Redux was born the moment developer Team Beef's Mad Doctors cracked the original Postal 2 open for virtual reality and saw 2 decades of code begging for a modern takeover. Key features note high-resolution textures and dynamic lighting, zero-load streaming world, smarter, freer crowds, reforged arsenal, fully popped breakable interiors, and Champ 2.0 as well. Pet him, sick him, or let him photobomb your next headshot. Paradise's goodest boy finally earns his kibble. Paradise itself will breed lighting shifts over the course of each in-game day, from sun-scorched afternoons to lamp-lit alleys come evening, and every junk-strewn corner bristles with physics-enabled debris begging to be destroyed. Every classic instrument of overkill is being rebuilt from trigger up, plus a few fresh calibers Paradise PD hasn't outlawed yet. Word on the street is the dude's attachments might be in line for an upgrade too, because tasteful restraints is for other franchises. So there you go. With that, Kickstarter is going to be dropping later this summer. As far as when the official release will happen, that'll be much later on, but Postal 2 Redux is in the works. And that'll do it for me. Again, and Expedition 33 will be getting a slew of new updates, including future improvements from accessibility features, new content, and all sorts of bits and bobs is what was exactly noted. Expedition 33's Lumiere Edition will be coming October 31st. I'm going to reiterate this over and over again because I know a lot of people after it's released is when they're going to want to pick it up. But $70 for it, I think, for what you get. It's a worthwhile pickup, whether you open it, keep it sealed, whatever the case may be. Astrobot is a franchise that's going to be here to stay, and it's one of PlayStation's most recent exciting success, and Postal 2 Redux has been revealed. A Kickstarter will be coming later this summer. That's going to do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.